Hello! So I'm still trying to get through my stash of fabric, and I had this cotton flannel that I got on sale, so I pulled that out to make a fitted midi pencil dress. My inspo, I think it was Reformation. They had like a denim version of it that was like sleeveless with a fitted bodice, fitted skirt. It didn't come out exactly like that. Things went a little bit awry, so I didn't end up with exactly what I intended to end up with. But that's okay. It still came out fun. It still fitted and comfortable and warm. And yeah, I think this was an example of a mock-up would have been helpful. I think I would have gotten closer to what I wanted had I made a mock-up. I might need to adjust my bodice block, but who knows why I'm going to do that, you know? That's not like a fun process. So we'll see if I get around to that. On to the video. I've been thinking about this situation here. I have some flannels in here, and I think like I should tackle a flannel. I'm thinking I do have enough of this to make like a kind of like a midi dress. Let's see. I should have 3 yards, I think. All right, I just put down my basic bodice blocks on it. Just to see how much length. I think it's enough length. I did a quick measure from like the base of my neck down to the length I wanted. I saw this dress that was like sleek and kind of like longer than midi, but not a maxi. Kind of midi, I guess. And fitted, and it was in denim. So I don't have denim. I'm gonna have old jeans, but I don't want to deal with patchworking. And yeah, so but I do have this. So I think I'm making this just like a simple high neck using my regular bodice block. And I think I have enough. All right, back to my tiny patterns here. Hopefully I'll figure out a way to film the pattern changes in real time, but this one's more because I just ended up changing things as I went. I probably should have done a mock-up. I definitely should have done a mock-up. But I'm trying to consolidate and sum up what I did so I can cut some of the footage. It's so long. So here we are. I put in the seam allowances. These are supposed to be 1/2 inch. Nothing's proportional. And this is just what I did also. Like, I'm no expert. So yeah, this is all supposed to be 1/2 inch except for this in the center back. I have like a 1 inch addition on my bodice blocks for the front and the back center, depending on where I want to put the opening, but I've only ever used the back really. So it's not on here because I didn't use it for the front, but I did use it for the back. So this is a 1 inch. This is 1 inch for the zip. Okay, and then I guess I'll start with the front. Or I can do both at the same time actually. So I did, all told, end up lowering the arm side about 2.5 inches. So about there. And nothing's gonna be proportional, by the way, so keep that in mind. So about there, and then I brought in the shoulders about 1 inch. Both of these things I did for comfort, and I think it makes it look more modern, though in the end that didn't really matter for this dress, but that's why I did it. So 1 inch over. So I did that. So anyway, down 2.5 inches here at the arm side. On both sides, and then in 1 inch from the shoulder. I made a tiny French curve. I think it might be a little small for this, but I'll make it work. So then this is what I did this in like little increments and sections after I already the facing on. It was a mess, you know. So this is what I should have done. Had I done a mock-up, then I would have known this is what I needed to do. So then just smooth these together. Just square into the seam allowance. That's the new arm side. And then I also lowered the neckline because I don't know about you, but like really hate I really hate it when necklines are so close up to my neck. Like it feels like I'm choking. So all told, I did do it in increments again. Like I ended up doing it a 1/4 inch and then I went down another 1/2 inch. So I ended up doing about a 3/4 inch lowering here of the neckline in the front. So this went down 3/4 of an inch. That went down 3/4 of an inch, and then because I did this in increments as I went, I will just do that here too. So this went down a 1/4 inch. So this went down a 1/4 inch like that, and then at this point the zipper was already in, so I didn't want to lower this same amount as the front. So what I ended up doing was just smoothing it with the French curve again. So fold this. I'm gonna fold this because I did this after it was already sewn. I could just smooth it onto the actual fabric, but because it's paper, I'm just gonna fold that seam allowance away so that I can overlap this. And then, let's see, so because this went down further, there's this discrepancy here at the shoulder. So all I did was just, you know, smooth this in. And that would work out again. I am just going to blue Sharpie the new lines so that it's clear. Hopefully that's clear. Okay, so then what I did was I added on length. Okay, I don't know if this is worse or better. You can see the tripod now, but you can see this also. So what I did was I just went straight down from the side here for both of these. I ended up, the finished length of this was 32.5 inches from the waist. I think all told, the length from like the base of the neckline down to the finished bottom was about 47 inches. So yeah, I also, for reference, I am 5'8". So yeah. All right, so let me put this in here. Waist to hem, waist to hem. Okay, so did that, and then I penciled it in from, wait, should this be longer? You know what, I'm just gonna lengthen this because I think it's gonna be confusing. So it's still 32.5, but I'm just gonna change this line. Okay, so that went on to 32.5 inches there. And then I penciled it in from just past the curve of the biggest curve, like part of my hip, like just past the curve of my hip. I started penciling it in. So for me, that was about 13 inches from the waist. So I'm just gonna say that was here. So let's say this is about 13 inches from waist. Also, let me just put in the seam allowance here. Seam allowance, okay. So let's say this is about 13 inches from the waist. So let me just go over here like this and like this. So that they're both 13 inches from waist. So from here down, for me, that just past my hip. So from there, I pencil it in 2 inches. This is all I did, all this after I had sewed the two sides together, because then I realized how much I needed to pencil it in, which might actually be easier than doing this. You don't have to match it or anything, you just sew it on there. But this is what I ended up doing. So I went 2 inches in. And then pencil this in. Also, let me just extend this 1 inch situation for the zipper. Okay, so that's penciled in, and then I added on 2 inches for the hem so that I could move it up. So fold it in once, 1 inch, and then again, another inch. And then that is just squared down from that penciled in mark for the hem, because I wanted the hem to be straight, so that there was no fuss in folding it up. There's no weird wonkiness from an angle. All right, let me just put in this new line so it's clear. Right, and then okay, right on here, 2 inch hem allowance. There. Okay, yeah, so for the back, the vent ended up being about 14 inches. So let's just say this much, 14-inch vent. So should have stopped sewing there at the back below the zipper so that this is open in the back for movement. Also, this was a pretty long vent for how penciled in I made the skirt. So I could have penciled this in more. Like it could have had a more dramatic narrowing down here at the hem, maybe another inch or two even, I don't know exactly how much. So were I to do it again, probably would have done that at a sharper angle, or you could even get away with a smaller vent at this angle, I think. So that's that. And then I needed add the hem allowance. I mean, not the hem allowance. Hem allowance is on. I need to add the seam allowance to my new lines. So let me just do that real fast. Just gonna erase that mark so it's more clear where we are here. So it's this line here. All right, and then up here, I need to add the half inch back on to these the new neckline and the new arm side. Okay, so now I've added seam allowance to everything, and I think I should just mark it actually. It's really easy to get confused here, so I think maybe it is best to add seam allowance as you go, which is what I usually do. Those are the new seam allowances there, and then let me just... This doesn't look straight because I didn't use a ruler to go over it with the Sharpie, so I'm gonna use a ruler here. That's it. That's the new changes. Let me cut it out. Here is the final form here. Also, I definitely I had to do this because there was no pattern piecing. I mean, there were no pattern pieces here because I thought all I would have to do is lower the arm side. Really, and this I could do in the fabric, which I was able to do. I think the penciling in of the skirt, lengthening and penciling it in, you can do in the fabric, and it's not that bad. And it might be easier because I don't have to like match up these at all, but let's see. And I definitely turned it a mock-up because I had to make these adjustments in increments because I just didn't know what I wanted really until I saw it on my body, which is what a mock-up is for. So that would have been helpful. Also, I think I need to change my bodice block because I had to do adjustments that were really like fit issues with my bodice block, I think. Unless it was the flannel fabric, I think it might be my bodice block. I had to take a dart out at the high neckline because it just was loose. I took out an inch dart in the center, and that's what sent me down a weird path of like having to put in a bow and then a belt to balance that out. So had I known how to do that, this would have just been a simple dress that I think would have been more everyday wearable. Let's see. And I also had to take in the side seam because of my bodice block doesn't fit right. I had to let out the hem. I took everything in, took the hip out less because I needed more space there. It just doesn't fit me the same way it used to, I think. And it might also be because we moved somewhere that has stairs. So, you know, there's more hip now, but my side seems to be brought in. Anyway, I think I'm gonna have to just give in and deal with that bodice block situation so that this doesn't happen to me again. So that it's easier to sew what I'm sewing and I have a better idea that everything's gonna fit, you know, because I've been bringing in everything the width of the presser foot. Anyway, so here is what I ended up with. Hope this is helpful. I hope I didn't forget something, or hope I didn't forget anything or make a mistake somewhere, and if I did, I'm sorry. Yeah, so this is it. On to the rest of the video. Alright, so I cut a little extra on the side here in case I wanted to flare it out a bit, but I think I'm going to just go straight down from the edge. I think that's the biggest part of my hip. I cut off like the front inch. This is just in case like I wanted to add a front opening, but it's going to be closed in the front and zipper in the back, going down to a vent. Straight down. I marked the darts, but I should have done this first while it was still folded. I'm just gonna bring this down. I think I'm gonna do 1.5 inches. Alright, there we go. There's 2 layers for the back, or the 2 pieces for the back, and the 1 piece for the front. I cut this in half after I cut it out. It's just easier that way. And I lowered the arm side 1.5 inch on both, and then I realized I forgot taking the 1/2 inch seam allowance when I cut the front. So I ended up having to take it down like 1/4 inch. So it's probably like 1 3/4 inch about down instead of 1.5. That's okay. I think it'll be fine. And I used my, oh my God, I'm out of breath. Okay, need cardiovascular exercise. All right. And I marked with my iron erasing pen. So if I iron it, it should go away. And I marked both double the darts in the inside of the front and the side darts, and then the the double-ended darts on each of the back. Well, there's one per back piece, so 2 in the back as well. And there we go. So hopefully it works out. We'll see. Once again, I didn't make an extra pattern. So I learned my lesson last time with the all-in-one facing. So this time I'm not going to do that. I'll probably just, I don't know, use bias binding or something, but we'll see. Okay, I stopped for lunch. My sweet cherub of a husband made us burgers. So we ate burgers and watched Monk. But now it's nighttime. I'm wondering how far I can get tonight. So I'm just gonna go do the darts first and see where I am. Another day, another wrinkled flannel. So I'm hoping I can just finish this today. Alright, just gonna sew up the shoulder seams. So is this a bad idea? Maybe, but I don't want to like pattern out the facing. This is a problem I was going through right now because I don't want to make a pattern for the actual things that I have a pattern facing with. Anyway, so what I'm going to try to do is just, I have a strip of fabric here, some of this leftover fabric, and I'm just going to pin it to the arm side and then sew it down and then cut it after. Alright, so I'm kind of in a good news, bad news situation. Okay, so good news is I think this worked pretty well, you know? If I cut it down, clip the curve here and fold it in, it looks like a facing. Bad news is my brain could not twist and wrap itself around which way to place it because I was doing upside down. So it wouldn't matter so much except one side's white, which is not ideal. So it's sewed on again, this time the right way, I think. So yeah, so I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side. Okay, so I have sewed on the facings and they're doing their thing and they look fine, you know. I haven't trimmed them yet or anything. I'll get to that all at the end of the facings. So now I still have to do the neckline. So I'm gonna do the same thing because it's working fine, I think. We'll see at the end, I guess. I feel like this is gonna be too narrow to like have enough after I sew it. So I'm gonna have to like sew together 2 pieces like this to like increase the width. And especially since I'm thinking of increasing the seam allowance up here. Just because like sometimes when things are sometimes the neckline is like really high, I feel like I'm being choked. So I'm gonna lower it a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch or something. So I must do that with increasing the seam allowance. So first up, I'm just gonna sew this to make it wider. Because I'm not doing a 1/2 inch, I'm just gonna mark this at 3/4 inch. I think this will be easier to sew. Alright, so I'm just gonna take this over to do a quick press of the seam allowance to the facings for the neckline and the arm side, and then if I have enough time right now, then I will understitch them. I will stitch them to the facings so that they turn over nicer. Alright, it's the next day again. So I just did finished the facings yesterday, and if I can just get the zipper in today, I'm gonna count that a win. So let me see if I have a matching enough zipper. Alright, here's my just random stuff. Alright, so I think this one's out because it's too like yellowy. Between these two and this one looks a little blue. I thought let's go with black. I might have to get some more zippers because maybe I need to get some neutrals. I think those would match more things. Alright, black zipper it is. Before I put the zipper in, I think I'm gonna go through and put in a thread mark. I did that last time and that was helpful. I'm gonna just sew, I'm just gonna sew 1 inch from the end here in the back so that I know where to set the zipper. I'm gonna use the whole length because it's a fitted dress, so it is long. I think it's like, yeah, I think it's 24 inches. So Moment of truth. Zipper it in. Yay. Okay. Okay, so it's the next day again. I'm gonna do the side seams, I think now, but I think I'm gonna I might mark a little bit further out for the hips because I feel like they were too tight when I made the silver dress. So maybe a smaller seam allowance on the hips. And then I need to figure out how long the slit needs to be in the back so I can still walk. And then after that, the hem. But let me see how far I get. I have like an hour right now, so let's see. I don't think I need like that much, you know? So here's like a 1/2 inch and here's how much I went in. So I think like, you know, 1/8 times 4 would end up being like a 1/2 inch, an extra 1/2 inch for the hip area all the way around. Side seam's done. So I think I'm just gonna sew down over like the butt area and the hip area about 21 inches. I just guesstimated holding the tape measure down my back from my waist. All right, so I'm gonna sew this down and then I guess check if that's a good amount of coverage in the back with movement allowed for walking. Okay, so I'm gonna try to just cut to the chase here because I ended up having to make a bunch of changes and I did them incrementally. So I brought the shoulder in 1 inch and I brought the arm side down 1 inch at the side seam, and I penciled in the skirt just past the hip to about a 2-inch point at the hemline. And I also ended up having to add a dart at the neckline because it just wasn't fitting properly. I think it's a block issue. What else? Oh, and I also brought the side seams in a presser foot width to tighten it and have it fit better. I also brought the vent up a few inches to make it a little longer, though I don't know if that was necessary for how much I penciled the skirt in. I also brought the neckline down about 3/4 of an inch because it wasn't comfortable, and then smoothed it into the back neckline. And yes, this was not a great time. There was a lot of unpicking and pen marking and fitting the dress again. I went 2 inches in and 2 inches up because this is going to be the hem. And then I angled it to the hip where I wanted to narrow it from, and then straight down 2 inches for the bottom hem. Let's do that for the other side also. Okay, and so I'm gonna bring in the shoulder seam with the curves I drew in, and then I'm going to bring in the skirt with the straight line I drew in, and then I think I'm gonna bring both sides in by just the width of the presser foot and see where I am from there. Alright, and then I'm going to iron open the side seams and then iron up the hem, and then I'll take everything over to the sewing machine at once. the 2-inch hem allowance. Alright, now that the hem is done, I can deal with the slit in the back, the little vent. So I'm gonna iron down the thread marking at that 1 inch that I have back here. I'm gonna sew down, I sewed on both sides of the vent, and then probably do a quick tack up here to reinforce it. Alright, so I think it's better for sure. This neckline situation keeps wanting to look, if I did a little dart, that might be helpful, but I'm not gonna do it now because I still have to like tack everything down in the back, and then I'll see how it is then. Or I might just leave it anyway, you know? We'll see. Let's see how much it starts bothering me. But this is so much more comfortable. Like having the neckline even down like a 1/2 inch really helped, and then even like cutting it down an inch, like really, that inch really made a difference. Like it really feels, that inch down really feels like suddenly I'm like not so restricted and constricted, whereas before I kind of felt that way. So I think that's good. I guess I'll sleep on it again and see what I want to do here. All right. Okay, I've decided to just do the dart. All right, here's the update. No, I haven't sewn up the seam or anything. The neckline is definitely sitting a lot nicer. However, it also like the fabric here wants to kind of dip in against my chest now, which is not ideal. But I think overall, in terms of fit, it's an improvement. But then now I also have this wonky bit of plaid here, you know? Okay, so there's the neckline situation. I just took a little dart out of the facing too, and it seems good, fine. It does dip a little slightly in there, but it doesn't really bother me. So, yeah, I'm thinking maybe I could cover up the situation here, or just make it look like a design choice with a little bow, maybe like a little velvet bow or something. I don't know, I'm still thinking about it. I could also just leave it and accept what it looks like, but I'm thinking about it. And then I do have to still do the back facing situation, so I'm gonna do that while I think about it and see from there. So I'm just gonna tack down the facings in the back by the zipper here, and then probably tack down everything else just loosely so it helps stay inside. Okay, so I've thought about it, and I think I'm gonna have to just lean into the secretary look, because I feel like this has somehow become office wear. And I think like the inspo I saw was like, you know, denim. So that's what kept it younger for sure. Also, I think the more I wear it, the more it feels like it's stretching, maybe. Which isn't great. So that is what it is. So I think what I'm gonna do is just put something up here and not worry about it. So maybe like I think I'm just gonna use I think I'm just gonna use like the flannel, and then maybe just put a tone on tone like little floop here, like a droopy bow, if you will. And I think I'll just do that and hope for the best. And I also still need to put a hook and eye on the neckline in the back, which I didn't think about yesterday. So let me figure out how I want to sew this to pin it or tack it on here. Almost 8 and almost 16. I'm just going to use this white line here. Let me try it with the ruler. Sew it right sides together here. Sew up one side, leave an opening, and then all around so that I can turn it inside out, and then I can just top stitch that center part. Alright, so it's focusing now. Okay, so I found the center point and then folded it in half there from one side, and then I tucked it under because I think it's a touch too long, you know? And then this is just the full length on one half of it, and then I kind of just like folded it to where it looked, I don't know, like one of these things. Which I feel like, okay, that feels very secretary-esque, fine, you know? So I think I'm just gonna tack this down in this position so I can get a better look at it. Alright, this is becoming a habit. I'm just gonna tack this on while I wear it. It just feels, I don't know, feels like a better idea. Alright, it's on. And just as I suspected, I'm giving like spicy secretary or like flight attendant or something. But I mean, it is covering like the dart and the dip, so you know, you can't win them all. Alright, so I'm out of hooks and eyes. And I had the skirt hooks, but they're kind of big and chunky, and I don't really want to put those back there. Not for this, because I'll have to sew on the inside like I did for the blue dress, and it's kind of clunky. So I'm just gonna leave it. I mean, there's no problem with it opening or anything. At some point, I'll get more hooks and eyes. I thought I had a bunch, but I literally cannot find them anywhere. At some point, I'll get them and maybe put them on if I'm feeling motivated. But for now, I'm gonna leave it. Also, there is I feel like the dress has stretched out because I put it on and off so much. However, I don't want to tighten it because it's really comfortable right now. It's super comfortable. So I think I might try styling it with a belt also, and I think that'll be fine. Okay, changing plans again. I think I am going to try to throw together a matching belt real fast. Hopefully real fast. Let's see. All right, so I bought a lot of used trim. So this came with it, um, and in the lot. So I've been looking around. I think these might be trims for drindles or those dresses, maybe. I'm not sure. But clearly they were sitting in someone's stash for a long time, and then now they've been sitting in mine. So I'm sorry if someone's like, don't use this for that. I apologize in advance, but I'm trying to use what I have, and I have this. So this one seems the stiffest. So I pulled it out. It feels like it is quite, like it's definitely been stabilized, and so I think that might work well for a belt. I'm hoping it doesn't bend, but I mean, we'll see, I guess. So my plan currently, we'll see how it works out, is to make a belt that I can just cinch around and hook with skirt hooks. Maybe I can make like a fake belt buckle to put on top of it. We'll see. Okay, so there was no exact method here. I just wrapped it around my waist to get an idea of how long I needed that strip to be, and with like a few inches of overlap. And for the fabric to cover it, I just doubled the width of that trim. But it was about 1.5 inches, so I did 3 inches plus hem allowance, so it was 4 inches wide, and then I just made it longer than the strip I had, so I had extra. And then I ironed it in half, the fabric, and then I ironed in that 1/2 inch on each side of the seam allowance. And then I just stuck the trim in and sewed it in, basically. I did end up trimming it a bit because I didn't want to have as much overlap as I left myself. And then I just threw on some hooks and eyes, some skirt hooks and eyes, and that was that for that part. And then I made a fake belt buckle with some boning. So I just cut like 4 little strips of boning and sewed them onto the flannel, and then cut it down the center and trimmed it up, and then just folded it in so that I could sew the fabric down on the back. It wasn't perfect, and like it was a little slightly wonky, and you can see the stitching in the front, but I mean, it did the job good enough, I think, for then. I feel like I could do a better job making a fake belt buckle, but I just like was so ready to be done with this project, you know? Okay, I think I'm finally done now. Here's the belt. I think we're good to go. Time for the reveal. Okay, so this came out different than I expected. Like, I wanted to make something simple that I could maybe wear with like a knee-high boot, like the inspo picture. It looked modern, but once like this neckline didn't fit and I had to put a dart in, it was all over. Like, I had to put this little ruffle bow situation on here, and I felt like I needed the belt to like balance it out. And once that happened, it was just, we're in. retro spicy secretary / librarian territory, it felt like. So I just leaned in. I wore like my glasses and put my hair in a bun. Not a good bun, but a bun. So I'm sure my hair looks kind of disastrous in pictures and videos. But I just threw it up real fast. But yeah, so I guess I would recommend a mock-up. I might have to change my bodice block. I made it years ago. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it either because, you know, I don't want to. But I probably should. And what else? I think it's really comfortable. It is a cotton flannel, you know, so it's really comfortable. And these Mary Janes are comfortable too. So like this whole outfit is very comfortable. I'm wearing my glasses, my hair's up. The dress is warm and comfy, and shoes are comfortable. So it's actually a good workwear outfit. I mean, it looks like workwear. So yeah. Yeah, I would rate this outfit fun. It feels a little bit like I'm cosplaying, you know? But that's not bad. So yeah, I guess I would recommend this for workwear. If you do a mock-up and don't do the dart and then don't have the little bow and the belt and just have like a simple, it's like a simple pencil dress, especially in denim like the inspo was, then I think it's very casually wearable, and you can wear it with like a knee-high boot, maybe a thin black belt or no belt, and that'd be comfy too. And I think it would look cute. But yeah, I think that's everything. Thanks for watching.